Good evening and welcome to this one-off special Formula Racing League versus NMX here at the Portimao circuit in Portugal. And we're ready to go for qualifying. Now, they are racing in their representative liveries, not the liveries of the Formula One teams on the game from the 2021 season. So we'll go through as to who is in which seats or in which liveries so that you know for certain who is where. I'm Tom Cans in the country box. You have just joined. Do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And feel free to get involved in the live chat as well. So it'll be a full qualifying session, Q1, Q2 and Q3. We'll lose the slowest 5 drivers at the end of this session, or the slowest 4 as it stands at the moment, but hopefully the one driver who left the lobby via some disconnection is able to get back in. Now, as you can see there, you can see in white and yellow, there's Fragile Tunnel. He's part of the FRL, so he just hasn't changed his colour scheme to white. We'll have a look at his car, actually, because sometimes the colours don't necessarily represent the colours on the graphic don't necessarily match with the liveries on the car itself. We have seen one of the cars heading out on the circuit. There is Mr. GFX Lad, part of the NMX League, and is coming out behind one of the FRL cars. I'm just looking to see who that is, and it's Pimis who's gone out ahead of him. So those part of the FRL, they are Liverpool Fans, Statistic King, Podge, Jay Hartnell, Pimis, Melios, Rosie, Wild Dog, Big Boss Bells and Fragile Tunnel. And those from the NMX are Kieran Barr, Cami, Ace, GFX, Hungary, Taylor McKenzie, Stiffmeister, Ice One and Sierra Alpha. So we'll watch Pimis going through. There are 2 other drivers making their way out onto the circuit. They are Statistic King and Melios. So Pimis just preparing for his first timed lap. So over the line he goes. To begin a lap, does Pimis. He ended the Tier 1 season in the FRL in 8th on 104 points. The best result of the season. Coming at the 5th round, I believe. Or 4th, actually. That was in race A. I think that may have been Singapore where he got that. But it's been a respectable season for him, and I'm sure he'll be back for season 4 in fine mood to progress further. See, comes towards turn 13. Gets through the apex nicely. As he comes round, and see his ERS has expired for the lap, so we'll have to make do without that until he crosses over the line. And it's a 1:17.5, which puts him top for now. We'll go to GFX Lad, who has left himself some space to complete his lap. He's gone marginally quicker, 600ths in fact. And there's another couple of cars. I think Melios may be coming over the line now. There he is, look. Melios posts a 1:17.7, so he goes P3 with that one. One of the NMX cars going over the line, but his Statistic King, 1:17.9 for him, only 4th fastest for that. As one of the NMX cars going through. I think Mikey's in now, actually. He hasn't quite got the same livery as the FRL, but it'll have to do for now. Or he may be part of both leagues. So there's Mackenzie there on a lap. And so far it's GFX lad who's fastest on a 1:17.5. It's Pimis in second, Melio's third, Statistic King fourth, and Wild Dog has posted a 1:18.0 to place himself in fifth. There's another car crossing over the line as well. I think that may be to start a flying lap. And GFX has crossed over the line to better his time by another couple of tenths, so he goes up to P1. As I can see, there's a few drivers actually that are on laps that are actually invalidated, but Mikey, who's coming through, otherwise known as SpongeBob on the graphic, rear wing open, over the line, and he goes fastest of all, thousandths of a second. That's a very good effort there from Mikey. Big Boss Bells, we expect him to be in the running for pole position at the moment. It's on a 51.9 by Sector 2. There's no one in front of him that could potentially impede him on this lap, so he's got a clear run to the line here. As Big Boss Bells, who had served as a reserve driver for this season. We have seen him compete in some rounds, including Portugal 7 days ago in the Tier 1 race. And it's a 1:17.0 for him, so he goes fastest by a little over a quarter of a second. There is Rosie in the FRL livery car. I think some of them may have slightly different patterns of livery in comparison to others, but at least they're similar enough. I think that's the main thing. So Rosie coming over the line now. And it's a 1:18.2, only good enough for 8th fastest. There is Cami in that lovely gold livery. I really like that livery actually. It's coming through now. And this lap time of Cami is a 1:18.2. So slowest of all the times. Ace is on a flying lap. It's not a very quick one at the moment. Podge has just started another time lap now. There is Wild Dog who's on course for an improvement in time. And Wild Dog posts a 1:18.0, only 0.04 of a second quicker than before. Remember, it's the top 15 that qualify for Q2, so we're not looking for the fastest, we're looking for the slowest 5. Hungary's on track at the moment. Taylor Mackenzie just stopping in the pits after his latest run. There is Fragile Tunnel, who wasn't able to get a livery sorted in... Well, he has got a livery sorted, but not the kind of livery that the FRL were after, but at least he's competing tonight. So right on board with him. It's an interesting livery, actually, I have to say. He's coming towards turn 7. So you decelerate. Brakes for turn 11. It's not too bad of a line through there actually. Just about kept the car within the track limits. 52.4 by Sector 2. He brakes for turn 14, and this lap time of Fragile Tunnels should, I'd probably say, put him in the top 5, but we'll see as he crosses over the line. It'll be a 1:17.9, only good enough for 6th fastest at the moment. There is Kieran in the NMX car, exiting turn 14. Used a lot of his ERS already, so we're hoping for all the speed that he can get as he crosses over the line. And it's only a 1:19.1 for him, so there's a lot of time still to be found for himself. Podge is on a better lap here than what he posted last time around. It was a 1:19.4 he had posted, and he's lost time in the second sector, so not really seen him improving on that effort. So there's Hungary, 51.7 by sector 2, which is more like the time we are after by this stage of the lap. So Hungary will open the DRS as he crosses over the line. And he goes fastest of all by 12 thousandths of a second. So Hungary setting the pace so far. Sierra and Ice One are on flying laps. Jay Hartnell likewise. Let's see how Hartnell is getting on here by sector 2. It's only a 52.5 by sector 2. I would say he's one of the contenders to be knocked out of qualifying by the end of this session. So coming through the banking, Hartnell over the line. And it's a 1:18.0, and that's good enough for 9th fastest. And someone else crossed over the line behind it. It was Ice One who had gone to 7th on a 1:17.9. And it looks like Kieran Barr has finally... Is it Kieran Barr's got... No, it's Sierra Alpha has just posted his first time in the session. 1:18.7 for him. And it looks like Kieran Barr has gone straight into the barrier there, but was able to continue. He was lucky to continue with only front wing damage, because that could have easily have ended his qualifying session. And Liverpool fan informing me that Mikey couldn't select his car, which is why he's standing out, which is good information for you to send me there, Bruce. Thank you very much. There's Ace coming through turn 14, one of 3 drivers yet to post a time of any sort in this session. Ace crosses over the line now, and it's a 1:18.7, and it's only good enough for 16th fastest. Stiffmeister going through turn 8. I'm not sure who that is in front of him. It'll be one of the NMXs. We'll need to move out of the way very shortly. It's Cammy, and I don't know if Cammy's on a flying lap himself. He is, you know. He's a 10th down from before, though, by sector 2. Now Stiffmeister may get a bit of a tow, actually, coming out of turn 14, if he's lucky. Got a slight kick of wheel spin, but not too much. Cammy crosses over the line. Does he improve his lap time? He doesn't do. Stiffmeister goes 10th on a 1:17.9. So Podge is out on circuit at the moment. He's currently 19th on a 1:19.4. Taylor McKenzie, who should be out on circuit, but he's currently in the pits. Liverpool fan currently 15th at the moment. He's on an improvement, though. He only improves by a 10th and remains in 15th place. And there's Cammy going off, doing a similar mistake to what Kieran Barr did earlier. There's Fragile Tunnel on a better lap here, nearly 2 tenths up from before by sector 2. And it's going to be a 1:17.6, and he goes P6. So he found a little bit more time in the last sector. So good enough to put him there for now. There's Stiffmeister just slowing down there. Jay Hartnell not on a lap. Sierra Alpha making his way back into the pit lane. Podge is on a flying lap now. He needs to find, at the very minimum, 7 tenths to get out of the bottom 5. You can see cars spinning around there. There's Taylor McKenzie, who's yet to get a lap time on the board. Podge goes past him now. And now he turns into turn 8. A very tricky corner that's caught so many drivers out during their time in acclimatised into this racetrack since it was released last month on this game cycle. And Podge is only 4 tenths up from before, so I think Podge is going to struggle to get out of the bottom 5 here, unless he can find a heap of time in the last sector. There he goes, exiting turn 14. Rise the curb. He's exceeded track limits, and unfortunately, because he's exceeded track limits there, that ruins the next lap as well. So Podge is coming back into the pit lane. He's going to get another set of soft tyres on. So he's very much on the brink here, is Podge. As Jay Hartnell, don't know whether he is on an improvement. Statistic King is most certainly on improvement. 3/10 up from before by Sector 1 alone. So Statistic King very much on a very good lap. So Statistic King finding another 10th by Sector 2. He's 10 fastest at the moment. With this lap time, he could go up to 5th, essentially, which would all but secure his place in Q2. So the bottom 5 we've got are Sierra Alpha, Ace, Kieran Barr, Podge, and Taylor Mackenzie. I want to go to Taylor Mackenzie in a moment because he's on a flying lap and he's yet to get one on the board. So I want to see how his lap time compares to the rest of those because I've not seen him compete before. His time in Sector 2 is on a 52.3, so it's pretty much borderline in terms of whether he's going to get out of the bottom 5 or not. We've got less than 3 minutes to go now in qualifying 1. So Mackenzie on the brink unless he can get a decent lap time put on the board here now. This is important. And it's going to be a 1:17.7 and it's 10th fastest for Mackenzie. So very well done to him. And that pushes Liverpool Fan into the drop zone. He's on an out lap at the moment, so he's got time to get round before the checker flag falls. Wild Dog has just started what could well be his last time live. He's currently 13th on a 1:18.0. He's 4/10 away from the drop zone, is Wild Dog. The man who dominated the Tier 3 category last season in the FRL. He's got 4 cars ahead of him that are all just going through turn 6 now, so Wild Dog is going to find it quite tricky actually to get through the traffic without his lap time being compromised. And Big Boss Bells goes fastest on the 1:16.8. Hardly relevant at this stage because it's just the bottom 5 that we're looking for that will make up the grid by the end of this Q1 session. Wild Dog heading through turns 9, 10 and the braking zone of 11. And it's a 52.5 and it's only just under a 10th up by this stage of the lap from before. Statistic King not doing another lap time. He may be retiring. Oh, I think Wild Dog's going to be compromised here by Stiffmeister, who's... Oh, he's obstructed in there. Wild Dog won't like that one bit, and he didn't need that at all. He really didn't need that at all. And Kieran Barr is going to go for one last attempt here. Just looking to see where we are on the timer. It doesn't show it on here whilst there's a yellow flag. There we go. Look, we've got 50 seconds remaining, so... I want to see who is on flying laps in the moment. Mike is on an improvement. Going through the last turn now. Takes a fair route to the line. And he goes to P2 on a 1:17 flat. Now, who else is on a flying lap, I wonder? Pimis is on a flying lap. 1:17.5 he posted last time. And it's a 1:17.4. Remains in 5th place with that one, but he's pretty much safe now. And one of the FRL cars is also going through. Liverpool Fan might get a toe off Big Balls Bells as he goes over the line here. And he goes up to 12th. He improved by half a second on that lap, so that pushes Cammy into the drop zone. The checker flag is out now, so any driver on a fast lap can complete it. So Cammy needs to improve here. He's in 16th place on a 1:18.2. He needs to find at the very minimum 2/10 to get out of the bottom 5. Podge is in the pits. He's out qualifying. Sarah is not going to improve. He's out. Cammy gets over the line. He does improve by a fraction, but that is not good enough to get him out of the bottom 3. He is out. Ace has made a mistake somewhere in the last sector. He's also out of qualifying, and so is Kieran Barr. He's not going to improve. So we have our 5 eliminated drivers then at the end of Q1. They are Cammy, Sierra Alpha, Ace, Kieran Barr, and the only driver from the FRL side, that is Podge. I don't suppose anyone is improving on any lap times at the moment. Me and Leos is most certainly not. Liverpool Fan isn't, and neither is Stiffmeister. So, providing Stiffmeister can get back to the pits without any more drama, bearing in mind he's just lost his front wing on his last attempt. So that was an interesting Q1 session. Close lap times. And we've got Q2 to come as well. And who is brave enough to try and go through on a set of the medium compounds, I wonder. Now, the compounds for Portimao, I believe, are the C4, the C3, and the C2. C4 being the softest and C2 being the hardest. So Big Bob Bells crossing over the line. Just wants to get this session over and done with. He takes the checker flag. And so we should see the classification board coming up very, very shortly now. So if you have joined us, do make sure you get involved in the live chat. Do make sure you leave a like. And it's very much appreciated that you do subscribe if you haven't already done so. I do my best to give you the best coverage possible and give you all the details you need during the track action. So at the end of that session, Big Boss Bells was fastest, but we lose Cami, Sierra Alpha, Ace, Kieran Barr and Podge at the end of Q1. The top 15 go through to Q2. We'll be right back very, very shortly. Welcome back, folks. We've got cars on the racetrack then for Q2. We'll lose the next 5 slowest competitors before Q3 begins. We are seeing some drivers on the medium compound. Statistic King is one of them. Pimis is another one. We've just seen Stiffmeister going out on the set of softs, so perhaps the driver's not brave enough at the moment, or some of them anyway, not brave enough to go on the mediums to begin with for the first stint, or for the first run. Lloyd Barrier coming in saying, up the FRL, big up the FRL, boys. Very nice of you to come out with that, Lloyd. Thank you for tuning in as well. And one thing I forgot to mention as well is that the point system for tonight's race is that 20 points go to the race winner, and a 19 for second, 18 for third, right all the way down to 20 for 1 point, providing they do finish, of course. There's also a point for the driver who qualifies on pole position, and a point for the driver within the top 10 setting the fastest lap. The team, when I say team, there are 2 teams for tonight, FRL and NMX. The team with the most points basically wins, combining all the drivers' points they get from tonight's event. So we've just seen Statistic King go through. Is there someone else already on a fast lap? I'm just going to go to... There's Hungary there, because I think he was the first one, wasn't he? Or was it Wild Dog? No, I think it's Hungary. He was the first one to start a lap. So we'll go to him as he goes through turn 8. There seems to be a bit of a love affair going on between Lloyd and Bruce, otherwise known as Liverpool fan, saying, I'm in love with Bruce, and Liverpool fans replying saying, I'm struggling. And Lloyd's replied saying, your biggest fan, Bruce, please marry me. Pure banter there between those two. Excellent to see. So Hungary coming through them. He'll be wanting to look for a 116 here. There's a 117.2, which is fairly decent for now. Statisticking coming through there, and GFX has posted a 117.8 on his effort. On the softs, Pim has posted a 117.7 on the mediums. Statisticking 118.3 on the mediums. So still a lot of time to be found at the moment. Mielio's in the FRL livery. Machine is coming through now, and it's going to be a 117.1, and it puts him to the top. He's posted that time on the soft compound. Wild Dog going again, and so will Stiffmeister. He exceeded chap limits on his latest lap. Is there any drivers improving at the moment? I just wonder if Pimis may be doing another flying lap at the moment. Hungary most certainly is not, because he's exceeded chap limits. But Pimis is backed off the pace, so we'll look to see more times being posted. Wild Dog has exceeded chap limits again, so he'll have to go again, or maybe just come back into the pits and get another set of tyres on. Stiffmeister looking to rebound from the earlier error and get his first lap time on the board. Now, Stiffmeister was only 14th in Q1. What can he produce here? So Stiffmeister entering turn 14 now. Through the banking of 15. And where is this going to put him here? He'll be looking for a low 1 minute 17 here, ideally. It's only a 117.7 for Stiffmeister, so I would say that's not going to be enough to get through to Q3, depending on what other drivers do in terms of whether they're going to try and get through on the mediums or the softs. Well, Wild Dog's just started another lap now, so hopefully he'll keep it within the track limits this time. He went off track, but he lifted off the throttle to avoid getting his lap time invalidated. Nicholas Bell's in there as well. Rosie's just started a flying lap. Here's Taylor McKenzie. And Taylor ended up 10th at the end of Q1. 52.6 on the mediums isn't too bad at all. So he's needing to ideally get in front of Pimis here, and Stiffmeister if he can, to bag himself a realistic chance of getting through to Q3 on the mediums to start the race on those set of tyres. So 118.0. It goes in front of Statistic King and Jay Hartnell, but I don't think that's going to be good enough of a lap time for him to get through on that. So McKenzie with it all to do from there. Wild Dog coming through. Still got some ERS left in there. And he posts a 118.7, but it's only good enough for 9th. He did lose time in the first sector there by running wide at turn 1. Here's Rosie. Who's been involved in the commentary side of things in the Tier 2 category in the FRL last season. Goes 9th of that effort. Fragile Tunnel goes 7th on a 118.1. Big Boss Bell's just posting a time of any sort there, so that's not a representative time he's posted. Mikey, though, can he get a decent time here on the mediums? It's a 117.7, and he's the fastest of all the medium drivers, so that does give Mikey some hope. With 7.5 minutes remaining in Q2. Wild Dog finding time in the first sector once more. 8/10 up by sector 2, so this is actually a better time from Wild Dog to get himself out of the bottom 5. Can he keep it up through sector 3? I wonder. So exiting turn 14 now. Down the banking he comes. This is important here for Wild Dog. So 117.9. So into the 117s goes Wild Dog. So he goes 7th fastest. So that's a really decent effort from him. Big Boss Bells, the man who was quickest in Q1. Through turn 14. He posted a high 1 minute 16 in Q1. It was a 1:16.8 he had posted. So let's see where he ends up by the end of this one. It's a 1:17.6. It's not really that quick by Big Boss Bells' standards, so I don't know where he lost time in the last sector or something, but that is not the quickest lap time I've seen from him. So, Hungary on a flying lap. 700s down from before, but he'll keep going and see if he can find any time. He didn't get the best of exits coming out of turn 5 though. He needed a lot smoother before getting the power down. Slows down for turn 8. It wasn't the best of exits coming out of there either. He doesn't have as much grip in there as he desires. Yeah, he's lost too much time, so he may as well forget that one. So who is starting a flying lap shortly? Well, Pimis is coming through the last turn now, so we'll go to him and see how he gets on. I don't think he's going to get through on the mediums with that, to be honest with you, but that's my guess. So Pimis coming through sector 1 then, going through turn 4, just about gets his car within the limits there. That so easily could have been an invalidation. It's actually nearly 2 tenths down from what he had posted on the mediums by that point in the lap. So Pimis not looking very good at the moment on this lap here. To be honest, if he doesn't find enough time in sector 2, I think he may as well just back out of it and risk it and try and get through on the mediums, but that may be too much of a risk as well. He's exceeded track limits, so may as well come away from him. Ice One, who's one of 2 drivers yet to post a lap time in Q2 so far. Let's see how he gets on here. Now, Ice One, his time in Q1 was a 1:17.8, which is good enough for P11. So that's the kind of lap time he needs to beat, really. Fragile Tunnel, who's in 10th place now, is on a 1:18.1. Ice One brake too late into turn 11. And Fragile Tunnel has decided to opt out the remainder of this session. He doesn't feel he'll go quicker than before. There, he posted a 1:17.6 in Q1 as Ice One exceeds track limits. And Fragile Tunnel's lap time in this session is a 1:18.1, so I don't know if he's got the tyres left in there or whether he's just saving some for the race, but we'll see. And Wild Dog also opting out of Q2, retiring from the session. Liverpool fan getting on with it here. He's on the medium compound, in fact, so I would think that Liverpool fan is thinking more about the race than he is of qualifying, but we'll see how he gets on here. His time in Q1 was a 1:17.8 on the soft compounds, 22.3 by sector 1. There's someone else behind him. I think is that Jay Hartnell? No, it's Statistic King actually. Statistic King, who's in the drop zone in 11th, is going faster than he did so before in sector 1. So down the gradient comes Liverpool fan through the kink of 9 and 10. Brakes for turn 11. That's not too bad for next. It's a 52.9 by sector 2, which is not particularly quick, if I'm honest. He may decide to go for another effort after this one, do a cool down lap, recharge the battery, and go again. So Liverpool fan gets the rear wing open. It's a 118.3, but it's only good enough for P11. And Fragile Tunnel's been moved into the drop zone because Stiffmeister, I believe, has gone faster than before. Either way, Fragile Tunnel is out of qualifying. Rosie in the drop zone as well, in 14th. She needs to find an improvement somewhere. She was over a 10th down by sector 1 through sector 2. She's nearly 400s up from before, but she needs to find a 1 minute 17. That's the very minimum she needs to find, and she only posted a 118.4 on her first time lap in Q2. Rosie's fastest lap time in Q1 was a 117.9. That's the time that she needs to find. And she's not going to do it on this effort here. And she only goes up to 13th with that effort. Jay Hartnell, quarter of a second up by sector 1 from before, so that's encouraging for him, albeit he's set his earlier lap time on the medium compound. So with 1 minute to go, the bottom 5 are Fragile Tunnel, who will not be going back out on circuit, Liverpool fan, Rosie, Jay Hartnell and Ice One occupy the remaining places. So Jay Hartnell coming through sector 2 here, the second time beams on the exit of turn 11, and it's a 52.3, and he's nearly 7 tenths up from before by this stage, so he's looking very, very good for him to possibly go up to 6th place ahead of Mikey. Statisticking retirement session, as does Big Balls Bells, they should make it through to Q3. Jay Hartnell just needs to keep it together here. He may decide to take the shorter route to the line, which he doesn't do. It's a 1 minute 17.5. He goes P3. Great effort there from Jay Hartnell. He found another couple of tenths in the last sector. As Rosie tours round, has she got enough time before the check flag falls? No, she doesn't. Liverpool fan is not on the fast lap either. So both of them are going to miss out here. I'm getting another lap in. Ice One also not able to get round in time either. He's stuck in the pits. So the 5 drivers we lose at the end of Q2, they are Wild Dog, who got pushed out right at the end. Liverpool fan also out in 12. Fragile Tunnel, Rosie and Ice One are also eliminated from qualifying. The only drivers getting through to Q3 on the mediums are Mikey and Pimis. Very well done to both of those drivers. So going into Q3, we've got 6 from the FRL and 4 from NMX. So there's a 60% chance of an FRL driver qualifying on pole position, which could come in handy because you do get a point for tonight's event. You can see GFX touring back, as is Jay Hartnell. So Hartnell coming back into the pits. Safely through in 4th place. He's done better than I thought he would do, if I'm honest with you. So it's good to see him up there. So the end of that session, the slowest 5 drivers we lose are Wild Dog, Liverpool fan, Fragile Tunnel, Rosie and Ice One, who didn't set a lap time there in that second session. Melios was fastest, but that's not for pole position, so he's going to have to look for more time in Q3, which is coming up very, very shortly. Do not go anywhere. Here we are for Q3. We're just waiting for some drivers to make their way out on track for this 12-minute part. And whilst we're waiting, we can run down on the calendar for Season 4 for the Formula Racing League. It begins on Tuesday the 9th of November at Imola, a very exciting venue for the series. We'll be racing for the first time there for Tiers 1 and 2. Silverstone will be round 2, followed by Baku on the 23rd, and closing November out will be Australia. And then in December, on the 7th, we've got Paul Ricard, Singapore for round 6 on the 14th, and then Russia on the 21st, before the series takes the next Tuesday after that off because of Christmas. And then we return in the new year on the 4th of January in Hungary. And then Austria for round 9, Spa on the 18th of January for round 10. And we've got 3 races in the Middle East, beginning in Abu Dhabi on the 25th, Bahrain on the 1st of February, and then Jeddah hosting the season finale on the 8th of February 2022. So 13 rounds we are expecting, and given the field we've got for both Tiers 1 and 2, it could well be very, very tasty out there. It really, really could be. So just looking to see who's the furthest round on the circuit. It is Big Boss Bells, who is determined to get on with this, really. 8 of the 10 drivers are currently on track. GFX and Stiffmeister are stuck in the pits. They could well be just doing the single run. So Big Boss Bells begins his first time lap of this qualifying 3. Through turn 1, no problem. Third curve is fine. Brakes for turn 3. Very nicely done through there. It's a 21.9 by sector 1. Big Boss Bells doing very well on this lap so far. Through turn 6 and 7. Through brake for turn 8. Turns in very nicely. Exits out of there. Down the hill. Up the hill again through turns 9 and 10. And you brake. There's a very nice entry into there. So Big Boss Bells looking very, very good here for a phenomenal lap time. We are looking at around a high 1 minute 16 for pole position here. Big Boss Bells will be the first driver to post the time, and it's a 1 minute 16.8, which is around about what we were expecting. Pimis over the line next, 1 minute 17.4 for him. And we've got one of the NMX cars coming through, that's Mackenzie, 1:17.8. Only good enough for third fastest at the moment. There's one of the FRL cars going over the line. That's Mielios, who was fastest in Q2. Only 0.06 of a second down from Big Boss Bells' lap time. Hungary next. He goes to provisional pole with that. Brilliant lap time there from Hungary, who goes to P1 by just under a 1/10 of a second. But it's good enough to put him where he is now. There's Mikey, who's on a decent lap as well. Will this be good enough to put him on provisional pole, perhaps? He'll definitely end up in the top 4, I reckon. I would say he'll end up with a high 1 minute 16 here. And it is a high 1 minute 16, and it's good enough for pole position by only 0.03 of a second. So far so good then for Mikey. And the drivers will be probably making their way back into the pits, although Mackenzie's on a faster lap time from before. We'll come to him in a moment. We'll go to him now, actually, because he's the only driver we can see at the moment who's going faster than before. Mackenzie, who posted a 1:17.8, is going into the pits, actually. I think he ran out of VRS in the last sector. And I expect the 2 drivers that didn't go out for their runs in the first 5 minutes should go out on circuit now. And there's Mikey, who's gone for a spin at turn 8. He's very lucky to get out of there, actually, because the game can disqualify you if you go around the wrong way on the track. There's Jay Hartnell deciding to go for another effort. Fourth fastest in Q2. half attempt down by sector 1. Through turn 6 and 7. And this should see him find some time on the exit. Not too bad of an exit coming out of turn 8. How is he through 9? Not too bad. Entry for 11 will be crucial here. Not too bad either. It's only a hundredth down from before is Jay Hartnell. Mackenzie's got back out on track straight away on another set of soft compound tyres. So Hartnell down the banking. And he's ducked into the pits actually. So Jay Hartnell aborts his lap, comes back in. And there is Mackenzie, who is looking to MQ3 on a high note here. It's done very well to get up there actually. So Mackenzie, exiting turn 14. And he'll begin his what could well be his last effort. And there's someone just, I think, has gone for a spin. I think Jay Hartnell has retired on track actually. So, oh no, that's Pimmins who's just gone for a spin. I think Jay Hartnell's not going back out on track. So the next time we'll see him will be on the grid for the race. And Mackenzie ideally wants to be looking for a high 21 by sector 1 here. It's only a 22.0, but he's a tenth and a half up from before. So far so good here from Mackenzie. And the rain has started to fall, so these could well be the last lap times we see. Mackenzie needs to get on with it here. He's got around about half a minute before he gets to the line, and the rain is falling. So this qualifying session could be ending rather prematurely, which is a shame. I'd like to have seen more of a battle for pole position. There are drivers on a flying lap as well, so we'll go to them once we've seen Mackenzie go over the line. Exiting turn 14 now. Less than 4 minutes to go. Mackenzie over the line. Does he improve? He does. By nearly 0.3 of a second, he goes up to P6. So he displaces Jay Hartnell. And Stiffmeister has exceeded track limits on his lap, so that's bad news for him. GFX has kept his car within the track limits, though. He's coming through. And this lap time of his is good enough for a 1:17.0. There he goes, 5th. So a decent effort. Pimmins 400s up by sector 1. He's in sector 2 at the moment. Is he going to break in time for turn 11 here? I think he took a tight line actually, I did so last time. 300s up by sector 2. Is he going to find enough grip though through the last 2 turns? He should do through 15. So Pimmins looking to improve on his 1:17.4. Does he do it here? He improves by 600ths, but it's not good enough to move him up the order. Stiffmeister is on a flying lap. I think he's the only driver really on a flying lap. So I think this could well be the last flying lap we see in this session with the rain falling. So Stiffmeister going down the hill. And Mackenzie Retiring from the session, not going back out for another run. And Stiffmeister goes past GFX. So Stiffmeister over the line. It's only good enough for 1 minute 18.2, so that is pretty much the grid then, unless Mielios can find some time in the remainder of the lap that he's on. Is this going to be an improvement here for Mielios, who's currently 4th at the moment? Just over a 10th off pole. Did very well to keep that within the limits there. That could so easily have been an invalidation. He's come back into the pits actually. Doesn't feel that there is any more time to be found. So Mikey's on pole position then for the FRL. It's Hungary alongside, who's only 0.003 of a second adrift, with Big Boss Bells and Mielios on the second row, followed by GFX and Pimis. And it's Taylor McKenzie and Jay Hartnell with Statistic King and Stiffmeister rounding out all those in the top 10. I don't know if we will get any rain in the race. If I could be filled in on that, that would be very much appreciated. So Q3 ends with Mikey on pole ahead of Hungary, then it's Big Boss Bells and Mielios. GFX in 5th place ahead of Pemis and Taylor McKenzie. Jay Hartnell, Statistic King and Stiffmeister running out the top 10. Qualifying is over. Now we go on to the race. Which team will come out on top between the FRL and NMX? We'll find out in around 45 minutes time. Cars waiting patiently for this race to begin. Drivers just sorting out their last minutes. Race and the fuel and tyre strategies. Well, I say fuel strategies. They're just sorting out how much fuel to start the race on. And of course, what tyres to be on now. There are 2 drivers starting the race on the mediums. They are Statistic King and Pimis, I believe it is. Those outside the top 10 can start on whatever tyres they like. So rundown on the grid then for today's race. Mikey's on pole ahead of Hungary alongside its Big Boss Bells and Mielios on the second row. GFX and Pimis make up row 3, followed by Taylor McKenzie and Jay Hartnell, Statistic King and Stiffmeister rounding out the top 10. Wild Dog and Liverpool fan lineup in 11th and 12th, ahead of Fragile and Rosie on the 7th row. Ice and Cami on next, followed by Sierra Alpha and Ace. Kieran Barr and Podge make up the grid. Now, just to correct myself, the drivers that set their fastest times in Q2 on the mediums, they were Mikey, Big Boss Bells, and Pimis. So Statistic King, in fact, got through to Q3 on the softs. The other drivers started on the mediums. They are Ice One, Cami, Sierra, and Podge. All the others are on the softs. So Mikey coming through. He'll be looking to dominate from the front. He didn't finish here in Portimao last week. He picked up numerous time penalties, which is something he needs to work on, really. On the discipline side of things, that can be a worry in keeping your car on the racetrack. So drivers just warming up their tyres as they all come through. And you're ready to go for this race once all 20 cars are in position. So Mikey slots into position. I'm just waiting for all the other drivers to slot in place now, and we are ready to go for this 33-lap Portuguese Grand Prix. Will it be FRL or will it be NMX taking the glory in around 45 minutes' time? The 5 red lights appear in front of the drivers right now, and when they extinguish, we'll be racing here in Portimao. It's lights out, and away we go. Mikey gets away well, as does Hungary, but he's under threat, though, from the FRL cars of Big Boss Bells and Mielios. But Mikey stays in the lead. There is Big Boss going right round the outside there of Hungary into P2. Very nice move there from Big Boss Bells. And Hungary trying to fight back through turn 3, but can't quite do so. And one of the other NMX cars this round is Carnage behind. Not sure what on earth has happened there. There's GFX going round there. I think Statistic King and Jay Hartnell have also got involved. There's Big Boss Wells and Hungary still going side by side there, look, entering turn 5. So Big Boss Wells might be able to get through into second place, but Hungary's fighting back. Side by side they go still through turn 6 and turn 7, but Big Boss Wells still keeps his nose in front. This is great racing between these two. It's only on lap 1, and is that Mielios spinning round? It is. So Mielios has spun round in another one of the FRL cars, so plenty of drivers maybe needed to pit at the end of lap 1 for repairs, but Mikey remains in the lead so far, with Big Boss Bells second ahead of Hungary. Pimis and Liverpool Fan are next behind, followed by Rosie, Stiffmeister, Cami, Ice One and Taylor McKenzie, running out your top 10 so far in this one-off special FRL versus NMX race tonight. And Stiffmeister's gone round on the exit of turn 13 as well, so he also falls to the back of the field. So he has it all to do there, all that hard work at the start coming undone. But Mikey leads the field at the end of lap 1. Big Boss Bell's still behind. Nearly 2 seconds of drift, so Mikey already pulling out of DRS range. There's no DRS, of course, for the first 2 laps of the race, as we watch Hungary close back in on Big Boss Bells. Now he's on the soft compound, whereas Big Boss Bells is on the mediums. And so Wild Dog and Sierra fighting over position there. Wild Dog taking 11th place from Alpha, with GFX right behind. Statistic King and Mielios looking to fight back here. And there is Ace in the pits for a new nose cone. And looks like Stiffmeister and Kieran Barr also in. So already 3 NMX cars in the pits at the end of lap 1 for repairs. So not good news from their side of the garages. And someone else has gone round in sector 2. It's Podge this time. Podge, who has started last in this race, made his way through the field nicely, but spun round at turn 8. And he's got a bit all to do from there. He rejoins in 16th place. So Mikey leading the field round as we watch Mackenzie get past Cami actually for 7th position. Is there any other battles going on? You can see Mikey posting a new fast lap that's now been exchanged to Big Boss Bells. As the drivers come through, the DRS has now been enabled. There's someone going for a spin there. Is that Kieran Barr? It is. So that's another spin there, unfortunately for him. Didn't make it out of Q1, unfortunately, and not having the best couple of laps. So his race, and it looks like he's gone for a spin into the barrier as well. And Kieran Barr has decided to retire on circuit, which is not really within the rules, to be honest with you. And the fact he is out of the race, he will not be scoring points, which is not only not good news for him, but it's not good news for NMX either, because the combined total of the drivers' points from either the FRL or NMX will determine who wins tonight between the two leagues. And Wild Dog has picked up a time penalty of 3 seconds. For track limits that will be. And I have to say, Liverpool Fan and Rosie have got to brilliant starts as well. 7 places up for Liverpool Fun, 8 places up for Rosie, 9 places up for Cammy. So those 3 drivers in particular making excellent starts. Ice One making up 6 places from 15th to 9th. And Big Boss Wells has closed in actually on Mikey for the lead here. So rear wing is now open on Big Boss Wells' car. Hungary looking to pounce behind. And now we're watching Liverpool Fun make a move on Pimis here. And he's going to go up into 4th position. So Liverpool Fun getting off to a very, very good start here. Having a very good first few laps. Statistic King drops down the order a little bit. I wonder if he's had damage somewhere. And he's in the pits. And I wonder, is he going to go onto the hard compound tyre, or is this going to be the mediums going on for him? We'll find out in a moment. It's the hards going on, so he should go to the end of the race on those, no problem. So 19 cars still running, bar the only driver out of the race. As Mackenzie's still fighting it out with Cammy actually over 7th place. Those 4 GMX cars nose to tail there, look, as Cammy loses another place to Ice One. He's lost another one to GFX Lad. Or NMX, I should say, in terms of the teams are getting a bit mixed up there between NMX and GFX. There's Melio's looking to fight his way back through the field as well. Is he going to make one or lunge one down the outside, I wonder? And Big Buzz Bells posting a new fastest lap. Melio's looking to get past Cammy here. And just had a brief yellow flag moment there. I think that was Stiffmeister that had a bit of a moment at turn 8, but continued. There is Ice One losing the position there to GFX. Cammy also going through, and Melio's not dawdling around either, so Ice One must have had a bad entry into turn 1 there. And he's dropped back, and I think Ace has just been penalised for track limits. He's in 18th place behind Stiffmeister, as Ice One is the latest to receive a time penalty now, so time penalties are starting to be dished out now with drivers exceeding track limits left, right and centre. So we'll watch Ace here with the rear wing open. Attempt to make a move on Stiffmeister before they get down to turn 1, but he's too far back to have a go from that. And I think Big Boss Bells has taken the lead actually from Mikey, so we've got a change of leadership before the drivers complete lap 5. So Mikey will be wanting to fight back here. He will have DRS, providing he is still within a second of Big Boss Bells at the detection point, which they've just gone through now. Can't see any other drivers making a move here. We can see Melio's fighting with Cammy over 9th place. This should be an easy manoeuvre here actually. Cammy leaving enough space. Pim is getting back in front of Liverpool Fun for 4th position. And Liverpool Fun running out wide, and that hands the initiative to Rosie. So Rosie gets through. I don't know whether there was contact made between those 2 drivers. But Rosie's through and into the top 5. So Big Boss Bells' lead is 0.6 of a second, so Mikey's still able to remain in touch. There are 2 DRS zones on this racetrack, one on the pit straight and one in between turns 4 and 5 on that back straight. Hartnell now penalised for track limits. So this could come down to track limit penalties here for these drivers. It continues the way it has been doing so in the opening 6 laps. So Mikey with the rear wing open, not able to get through at the moment. There's a Liverpool fan looking to make a move back in front of Rosie, but isn't able to do so. There is GFX trying to make a move as well. Wild Dog is under threat at the moment from Fragile Tunnel. Camway gets a time penalty for track limits now. So 7 drivers with time penalties at the moment. Liverpool fan now back ahead of Rosie into turn 5. No problem there. So I would think that the drivers on the soft compound, if they are thinking about a 2-stop race, probably want to pit at around lap 8 or 9, depending when you feel is the best time to be coming in. So Mikey on the tail of Big Boss Bells. As it stands with all the positions as they are, it would be FRL taking the crown tonight. So NMX have got a lot of work to do from here on in. The safety car could change things later on. Mikey with the DRS open now. Should be able to close in on Big Boss Bells a little bit, but he's not going to be close enough to have a go. Hungary's still there, a couple of seconds behind Mikey. There's Melio's making another move here on Taylor McKenzie, and wheel to wheel between those two, but no contact made. Melio's is through into 8th position. Robust but fair from Melio's. Sierra Alpha also moving in front of Podge briefly before Podge fought back. It's a battle for 14th position. And Ace with a time penalty now as well. That's his 3rd one of the race already, so not a good start to the race for him, unfortunately. So Hungary in 3rd place. Looking strong at the moment. He'll want to think about pitting in soon, I would think, maybe in the next 3 or 4 laps, depending whether the 1-stop strategy is the way to go or a 2-stop. Remains out there for now, as we watch Liverpool fan close in on Plymouth in the battle for 4th. There's Fragile Tunnel behind Wild Dog. I think Wild Dog's going to struggle to fend this one off. Ooh, that was a little move to the right there for Wild Dog. He left him room, obviously, but don't necessarily want to be making moves like that, as looks like one of the one of the NMX cars has gone round for a spin. That'll be Ice One. And Ace picking up yet another time penalty. Mikey on course to post his personal best lap of the race so far. The fastest lap is currently Big Boss Bells's. That would be a point as well for the FRL as it stands. They're on course to win this one convincingly, considering that 5 of their representative drivers are in the top 6. And Rosie comes in now from 6th place. Medium tyres go on. She's just done 9 laps on those softs. Where is she going to rejoin? She'll want to rejoin ahead of this battle here. And someone's gone off at turn 1. Who's that there? That is Taylor McKenzie, who's gone for a spin. And Rosie will rejoin behind this trio that's battling amongst each other. As you can see, Jay Harnell running wide there and allowing Sierra Alpha going past. So Rosie rejoins in 16th position now. And that's Hartnell off the racetrack, unfortunately. Not having a good race so far, is he? So Mikey wanting to get a move on here. They won't want to be pitting in yet. Now, will Hungary decide to pit in? He's dropping back from these guys, so he may decide to pit in here, but the problem is, where is he going to feed out in regards to traffic? And he's not pitting in at the end of this lap, so he's going to go round for another lap. So the Liverpool fan gets the rear wing open. He'll be too far back to have a go here on Pimis, I would reckon, so he remains behind for now. Hot Dog round the outside here of Fragile Tunnel, and Fragile Tunnel just let him go past easily. He knew that the game was up there. So, oh, that was Sierra going wheel to wheel there with Podge over the back of over 12th place. They both got through easily anyway as Mackenzie comes into the pits for a set of the medium compounds. And Mackenzie there should rejoin ahead of Stiffmeister. In fact, he's let him through easily there. He didn't want to make contact there. I think he was maybe being a bit too kind before they got to the corner. A couple more drivers getting penalties there. Ace is on 15 seconds worth. GFX, that thing, has now got his first penalty, and that is Podge going for a spin. So, the night going from bad to worse for him, unfortunately. Hungary stays out there for another lap. Liverpool fan will be wanting to think about making a pit stop soon. GFX decides the time is right for him to come in now. Melio's also in. So Melio's putting the mediums on as well. And GFX will be exiting the pits. He will want to get out in front of Podge, so he's coming down the pit straight now. So Emilio's rejoins in 14th place. Hartnell into the pits as well. He'll fall to the back behind Ace. So Hartnell rejoins in 19th and last. Mikey now with a penalty for track limits. He'll hope that will be the last. That destroys his efforts of winning this race. Sierra Alpha's gone for a spin at turn 8, but has continued. Oh, that was nearly contact there, and the two drivers there between Melios and Podge forced each other off the racetrack there. That could have ended in tears, actually. It could have taken Sierra Alpha with them. Liverpool fan behind Pimis as Mackenzie posts the new fastest lap of the race. So he's finding some time. Oh, maybe pushing too hard though, and he goes into the gravel trap. And that's cost him even more time, unfortunately. That's a shame. He falls down to 18th place after that. And imagine that Hungary will be into the pits and up. Is he? No, he's staying out there on the soft compound, and to be fair, he has still got track position. He won't want to stay on those tyres for too long. We're now on lap 14 of this Portuguese Grand Prix. And Liverpool fan into the pits now for his only stop of the race. And Ace is the next driver to go for a spin. And Liverpool fan exits his stop and is behind Rosie. Now Mielio's pitted earlier, so I think Liverpool fans are going to find it tough to keep him behind. The Liverpool fan remains ahead of him, so Liverpool fan rejoins in 10th place, but he has been undercut by Rosie. And Ace into the pits. That's his second stop of the race. I wonder if he's going to put maybe another set of tyres on. He's had a miserable one tonight, it has to be said. As Hungary comes in for his first stop. Mediums go on. And I think he should get out in front of Whale Dog here very easily. So Hungary rejoins in 5th and has track position. So you can use the next few laps to good effect here and start to worry the top 2. And Mackenzie getting a time penalty now for track limits. Hungary. Let's see how he gets on. Well, the leaders won't be pitting in any time yet. But when they do and go onto the soft compounds, I think Hungary's going to find it tough to keep them behind. But we'll see as the race goes on. There's GFX, who has a time penalty to his name. It's behind Rosie in the battle for 6th place on the road. The only drivers yet to pit are the top 4, Sierra Alpha and Podge. And it looks like one of the NMX cars has gone for a spin. Is that Mackenzie again who's gone for a spin? It is. He's just been lapped by the race leader now as well. So Pimis in 3rd place ahead of Ice One, who's yet to pit. He's had a good race tonight actually, as Ice One, keeping his car out of trouble. He's not been involved in too much of the shenanigans, as Mackenzie gets another time penalty now for track limits. This race going from bad to worse. 3 seconds is the gap on the road between Big Boss Bells and Mikey. And it looks like Stiffmeister is the next to go for a spin. Or is that Mackenzie again? No, it's Ace this time. So Hungary, I don't know if he's on for the fast lap of the race here, but he's posting his personal best at the moment. Mackenzie into the pits for the 2nd time tonight, and that is his race over. So another of the NMX cars out of the race. And Mackenzie, the 2nd driver to exit. We're on lap 17 now as we watch Ice One come into the pits, albeit too quickly. A 5-second time penalty for speed in the pit lane, unfortunately. Didn't need that at all. And Ace getting another time penalty as well, as does Podge. So Cami all over the back of Sierra Alpha. And they all get through nicely. They're going side by side though, Cami and Sierra Alpha. There's Podge right in there as well. So there's Big Boss Bells continuing to lead. The gap he's got over Hungary in 4th place, who's already pitted, is currently just under 30 seconds. Mikey running wide at turn 1 there, that'll cost him some time. Now Hungary's best lap of the race so far has been a 1:19.3. The fastest has been Taylor Mackenzie with his 1:19.1, but He's out of the race now, so he wouldn't get that point. And Hungary does not post his best lap of the race. So Hungary, next in turn 5. Pimis has done very well to keep himself out of the mayhem so far. He's in 3rd place. And Sierra Alpha now with a time penalty. That's his first one of the race. We'll have a look at time penalties once all the pit stops have been completed. We're not expecting the leaders to come in for another 4 or 5 laps, I would say. There is Hungary. Haven't kept up to date with the lap times he was posting. Well, the lap times posting on this lap. It's another 1:19.5. So he's actually set some decent lap times since he came out of the pits. He wants to be pushing a little bit harder if he wants to be going for the race victory, though. But 2nd place is very much possible. He's got no back markers in front of him at the moment as Hungary. Big Boss Bells' next back marker is... Just trying to have a look to see who that is. I think it's Jay Hartnell. The only driver laps that's still running is Ace. As Big Boss Bells comes through. 1:19.4 for him on that lap. Mikey lost time in the 2nd sector. He's on 1:20.3, so he's lost a lot of ground actually as Big Boss Bells on that lap. Pimis is on course for his personal best lap of the race though. So 1:20.1. He's lost a tiny bit of time in the last sector. Hungary's a 10th down by sector 2 from his personal best lap. Let's see what he can find here. 1:19.4. So this has been a good run of laps actually from Hungary, it has to be said. Closing in gradually on Pimis though, as we watch someone go for a spin. Who's that that's spun round there? That is Melios, who's had his 2nd spin of the day. He continues in 9th place, but he's got Ice One and Sierra Alpha coming through. So Melios losing yet another position as Podge comes into the pits for his first stop of the race. He'll go down a lap by the race leader once he comes out. But at least he won't need to adhere to blue flags. Well, I say that, the race leader is coming in. So Big Boss Bells decides it's time for a pit stop, and Mikey the same. So Podge won't need to let the leaders through. Now, does Pimis decide to stay out there for another lap, I wonder? He does do so. But he's not the biggest worry. I mean, Hungary's only just coming through turn 15 now. Pit stops are made. Big Boss Bells out onto the racetrack. He rejoins in 2nd place on the track. Mikey's coming out of the pits here. Look, there's Hungary. Hungary doesn't quite get in front. But as it stands with the penalties applied, he'll be going to the podium most certainly, and probably 2nd place. Now Melios getting another time penalty for track limits. So just one driver left to pit in this race now, or 2 drivers. Sierra Alpha is one of them, the other being the current race leader, Pimis. Now Pimis, whether he decides to pit in this lap, the answer is yes. So his short time at the front comes to an end. Now he comes in for his final stop. He'll rejoin behind Hungary, most certainly. Now, GFX has already pitted. See someone to look out for here for Pimis. Soft tyres go on. Out he goes. And I think GFX is going to complete the undercut on Pimis here. He goes through, but at least Pimis will get out in front of Rosie here. No problem whatsoever for the Dutchman. On fresher tyres as well, so it won't be too long before he gets onto the tail of GFX. He's received a time penalty now as Pimis for a track limit, so it's unfortunate for him. Big Boss Pals looking very good here. He could be on course to get the fastest lap here with the pace he's setting. He's 6.5 seconds clear of Mikey on the road. Emilio's picking up yet another time penalty for track limits. It's a 1:17.9, and that is by far the fastest lap of the race. And that's going in Big Boss Pals' favour. 1:18.7 for Mikey. He's pulling away from Hungary at the moment. Ace picking up another penalty in the race. Is now on 27 seconds worth. I think if he ends up getting a few more, that could lead to a disqualification from the race. So with all the stops completed, Big Boss Pals leads ahead of Mikey in second place. And then it's Hungary third, GFX fourth, Pimis fifth ahead of Rosie and Liverpool Fan, Melio's eighth, Ice One ninth, and Wild Dog in the top 10. Now, with the penalties as they are, just seen a few drivers coming into the pits actually, just look to see who they are. Sierra Alpha's in for his only stop. He's gone to a set of hards, which I'm actually surprised about. Looks like someone's gone off in sector 2. That is Ace, who's damaged his front wing as well. So that's him going into the pit lane into the pits at the end of this lap. And if he does so, I think that'll be him calling it quits. It's not been a good night for NMX, it has to be said. It's just been very much a domination from the Formula Racing League. And Liverpool Fan now ahead of Rosie. Doing so on turn 14. But Rosie's going to fight back here, and she may just get back in front of Liverpool Fan with DRS. DRS is now open. But she decides not to go for it there. Does she go for it into turn 1? The answer is no. There is Podge behind Sierra Alpha in the battle for 14th place. Fragile Tunnel comes in to get rid of those hard compound tyres. There'll be a set of the softs going on for him. So Big Boss Pals is 9 laps away from victory here. There's Wild Dog in 10th place, Jay Hartnell in 11th. There's Podge, who is just ahead of Fragile Tunnel. He's only been in the pits. Stiffmeister getting a time penalty. So at the moment, there are only 6 drivers who are left in the race without a penalty at the moment. Big Boss Bells, Hungry, Liverpool Fun, Rosie, Fragile Tunnel, and Statistic King are those drivers. Here is Podge and Sierra Alpha, who has ducked into the pits. Now, what's that for? He's on the hard compound tyres and he decides that he probably thinks he's on the wrong compound. Well, he should have been on the soft compound earlier on. So really silly of him going into the pits there. He may as well have just carried on. So Big Boss Bell's looking very comfortable at the moment. Hungary's fallen back from Mikey. The gap that Mikey has over him is 3.6, and the penalty that Mikey has is only 3 seconds. So Mikey would keep his second place as it stands. So we just see Pimis get past GFX to go up to 4th position. There's Rosie getting past Liverpool Fun. Made a mistake coming out of turn 3. And allows us to go past. Fragile Tunnel. Behind Podge in the battle over 12th place. Rear wing open. Fragile Tunnel to the outside. And that is him through into P12. He's got 14 seconds to make up on Jay Hartwell at the moment, though. So, Big Boss Bells starts lap 27. He leads by over 7 seconds over Mikey. So there's Mikey. And second by and Ace has picked up his 10th and final track limits penalty, which results in him being disqualified from the race. So it's a early bar for him, unfortunately, and that's yet another NMX driver out of this race. What a shame for him. It was bound to happen at some point. Big Boss Bells completing yet another lap. And Podge just got in front of Stiffmeister briefly. They're tossing over 13th place. Oh, Podge just got into the... Oh, he looks like he was going to go into the wall there, but caught it in time. As Cami closes in as well. And then it's the race leader who's coming up to lap them. So Big Boss Bells looking very good for the victory here. He's not put a foot wrong since the start. Getting in front of Mikey during the early phases. Mikey was on pole position earlier. But it's just been all Big Boss Bells, just been far, far too quick. Maybe tight on fuel, but I'm sure he'll manage it okay. Mike has got a little bit more fuel left in there, so he'll be wanting to push. And Pimis is continuing to close in a little bit, actually, on Hungary. 6.5 seconds behind. And this is Liverpool Fun looking to have a go on Rosie here. Next in turn 15. There's Liverpool Fun still in 7th place. The clouds are coming over the track. Now, I don't suppose we are going to be getting any rain. If we do get any rain, I don't think it's going to affect the track too much to make the drivers think of going on to the intermediate tyres. Boswell's got the DRS at the moment, so he comes up to lap Cami and Podge. He goes through that. That's those 2 laps. Next one in front will be Stiffmeister, is another 5 seconds up the road. GFX running in 5th place right now, looking to get past Pimis here for 4th, as Ice One gets another penalty. This penalty's 11 seconds at the moment, so he'll need to watch his toes from here on in. So the top 5 would remain unchanged. Well, I say the top 5. The top 7 would remain unchanged. Melios would drop back a few positions, though, a couple of positions, I think. So Ice One would fall behind Well Dog as well. So Well Dog would go to 8th. Ice One would remain 9th. Melios would drop down to 10th. Well, Big Boss Wells wasn't particularly quick coming out of there. Is he struggling on fuel, I wonder? We've got 2 laps to go now. Yeah, he's not going that particularly quick, if I'm honest with you, Big Boss Wells, which could give Mikey more of a chance to actually close in, because he's still got a bit more fuel left in there, so he can afford to actually go quick here, but he's gone too quick over the curbs, exceeded track limits, and that's another time penalty for him, so that will give Big Boss Wells a little bit of more breathing space. We'll just see what Big Boss Wells' time is like through Sector 2. It looks okay at the moment. He's 8 tenths down from his best, which I think by this point of the race, with the tyres that he's on now, it's actually okay, and he's actually extending the gap to Mikey with just over a lap remaining. You can see Big Boss Wells' fuel gauge is running low. He didn't exit out of turn 14 that quickly either, so I think that's where he lost time the lap before. We're now on to the final lap then, as Big Boss Wells is about to be unlapped by Podge and Cami. .2 seconds the gap is on the road, but Big Boss Wells won't need to worry at the moment. It's been a very dominant drive from him. You can see Mikey going off track there. So Big Boss Wells let through again by Podge. been a sterling effort here from Big Boss Bells. Took the lead on lap 4 after Mikey took pole position, and it's going to be a dominant victory for the FRL as well, with 6 of their representatives in the top 8. So Big Boss Bells has got 2 more corners to get through here, and victory will be his. Gets through turn 14. Down the banking. He's going to complete his final lap to win the one-off special here in Portimao. Big Boss Bells wins the Portuguese Grand Prix, and in dominant fashion. Very well done to him. Mikey comes home second, ahead of Hungary, the highest of the NMX drivers tonight. But it's not enough for them to win out overall once the points have been calculated. Pimis will be in 4th place ahead of GFX, and then another 20 seconds back will be Rosie, who's still got Liverpool Fun right on her tail. So Liverpool Fun giving Rosie a little bit of a fright here as they go through the last corner now. So Rosie will be 6th, Liverpool Fun 7th. And then it should be Wild Dog going up to what should be 8th place, or is it going to be Melios, I wonder? No, Melios keeps hold of 8th, Wild Dog 9th, and it's going to be Ice 1 in 10th. Jay Harden will be 11th. Stiffmeister and Fragile Tunnel will swap places once the penalties have been applied. Sadistic King is 14th on the lap down, Podge 15th, and then it's Cami and Sierra Alpha, the rest of the finishers. Taylor McKenzie, Kieran Barr and Ace were the drivers that did not finish tonight's event. So the drivers celebrate on the podium, and it's a victory overall for the FRL. So your race result sees Big Boss Bells win ahead of Mikey in 2nd, then it's Hungary 3rd, Pimis 4th ahead of GFX, Rosie 6th ahead of Liverpool Fun, then it's Melios, Wild Dog and Nice One rounding out the top 10. Jay Hartnell 11th, Fragile Tunnel 12th ahead of Stiffmeister, Statistic King, Podge, Cami and Sierra Alpha completing the finishes. Mackenzie, Barr and Ace did not finish. So it's a convincing victory for the FRL overall tonight. Very well done to them. And they will resume their action in a couple of weeks' time on the 9th of November, Tuesday the 9th of November, that is, where the season gets underway for both Tiers 1 and 2 at the Imola circuit in Emilia-Romagna. So do make sure you tune in for them in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back for more action soon. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.